All right. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Rise and Grind Morning Show. I'm your host, Will Rock. It is September 11th, a day that we will never, ever, ever forget. But I want to talk about football today. We're going to be keeping it light and positive on the show this morning. Today is just a somber day, man. I don't care where you were on this day or what you were doing. You will never forget what happened on September 11th. So my heart goes out to all of those that have served and, of course, all of those that were lost on that fateful day. So I just wanted to say that this morning real quick and kind of get it out of the way because it's something that will always affect us no matter what, as a country, as a fan base. September 11th was tough. And this country is so strong to be able to turn it around and move past it, but never forget. Good morning, Eric. How you doing this morning? Let's get rolling on today's roster, and let's talk about these Detroit Lions.
Doing fantastic as always.
All right. Well, I expect nothing less. Nothing less. So this morning, there's a few topics that I want to get to. I'm still burning. Obviously, a little out of characteristic for me last night when I did the video about the Lions being called cheaters, right? Kind of a funny story. I thought that my tape was I thought it was done recording at the very end. And so that snippet of that real raw, Will Rock take made it. It made it to the video. So kind of fun, I guess, but get out of here. That's how I really felt with the whole cheating scandal. Today's roster daily headlines. Of course, we're going to claw the interwebs and see what we have for daily news and rumors. We have power rankings. Lions are kind of a mixed bag here. Lions add a kicker. Obviously, this is just insurance. This is nothing against Jake Bates. Starsky and Hutch. Do we have it? I think we do. Conspiracy. We'll touch on it again briefly. And then I'm going to wrap it up and I'm going to throw it in the trash. Alim McNeill was wired. Why was he so wired? What did he do? What bothered him? I guess we'll talk about all that and more right when we come back here after a brief sponsor break from Uberlights.
Every day, thousands of people are discovering Uberlights, Michigan's newest, funnest rock to go find on the shores of the Great Lakes. Don't go out with just any light. Try the Convoy C8 from Uberlights.com. It's guaranteed for life, and you'll find all the ones everyone else misses. Quality UV lights that are perfect for Uberlights with prices starting as low as $20. Please make sure to visit Uberlights.com for all your UV flashlight needs with the best guarantees on the market. Just what you wanted and not what you didn't. The best quality, the best guarantees, and the best UV flashlights from Uberlights.com.
All right, so this morning, quick reminder that we do have the new weekly raffle prizes up. The Miller Lite, Neon Light is up. You have the Eric Hipple signed, autographed, Pontiac Silverdome backrest, and of course we have a Chris Spielman signed mini helmet, all with certificate of authenticity. Check it out on Rocked On's Buy Me a Coffee page. It's buymeacoffee.com/Rocked On. Of course, you will see the QR code popping up here shortly. So, Eric, before we get rolling into the roster, any words of the day, anything on the mind this morning about anything? I don't care what it is.
Oh, I've been looking through the game notes from that Ford Field gave out to the reporters as they're walking into the media room. And there was some stuff I did not know in here about last year's Detroit Lions that we rushed for at least 100 yards and a touchdown in each of the first 5 games last year. And the only other times they've started a season doing that were 1962, 1956, and 1932. That's pretty crazy. There's some really neat stats in all this stuff.
Yeah, I think that's great information to have. Fact versus fiction, though. That's what I want to start with today. Fact versus fiction about the Detroit Lions.
Sure.
Evaluating the week 1 performance here. This was a piece put out by The Athletic, and they're calling for the top pass catchers for the Detroit Lions. Do we have to have any cause for concern here? So the question was, raise your hand if you had the Lions all-pro pass catchers, Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown, combining for 58 yards on 7 receptions. Anybody?
I did not have that on my bingo card.
Nobody had that? Nobody?
No.
I mean, I told you guys that they weren't going to go for more than 80. At least I told you that. I didn't think that would happen. I thought that there was going to be some other things going on in this game. Now, that wasn't 80 combined. I just felt that there wouldn't be, one receiver that would get 80. But I guess nobody really expected this, right? So it's a very uncharacteristic game for the Detroit Lions, and there's a lot of Lions fans that were a little bit concerned, or a lot concerned, some of you, about this, and where do we go from here, and why, what happened? What happens next week if the Rams put down some sort of a blueprint? Now, we tried to go through some of this stuff last night in the All 22 review. Next week's version will be a little bit better, obviously, because I'm going to pull out some certain things and mark it up. But the Rams really bracketed down Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta to kind of double them up, bottle them up. And that's why J-Mo had the game that he did. That's why he was able to get as open as he was on certain plays. But remember, he only caught 5 balls too.
Mm-hmm.
And if he didn't have, the yak opportunity that he does, this could have been a much different game had he not gotten loose on that one play for that long touchdown, and did what he did on the end around. This was, I think there's a little cause for concern, but I think that Ben Johnson, rolling into week 1 up against what is going to be probably the NFC opponent that we're going to have circled here at the end of the season. I think that we did okay. It's just week 1. Had we lost this game, I probably would have been more concerned, but the fact we found another way to win, I think just kind of spoke volumes to who this team really is. And I mean, when it was all on the line, the offensive line stepped up, Demo stepped up, and they just went to work. I mean, Sam Laporta got opened up there in the final drive. So I'm not as concerned. I think that, as the season progresses, you're going to see teams finding ways to limit our guys. It's going to happen. But that's why we need to have another X receiver step up. That's why we need the Tim Patrick or the Allen Robinson or somebody, or the Lions need to find someone, make a trade, do something. We needed another wide receiver in this game. We needed someone that was bigger, taller, stronger, faster to go and body these guys and get open. And we didn't have anybody. And I think that that's where having Khalif Raymond as your number 3 is kind of an issue, because he's just another slot guy. Isaiah Williams, just another slot guy. Not that he can't get open and not that he can't have a good game, but we are reeling right now on having a big wide receiver to separate, right, than from everything else that we already have in that room. So for you, Eric, do you feel like there's any worry to be concerned here, or you just chalk it up to week 1, let's move forward?
I don't so much even chalk it up to week 1. I just think that we have nothing to worry about. There's going to be weeks that those 2 guys just don't have the super stat game. But you know what they have? They have the W. And that's all that matters, not individual stats. So I think what the Rams did is they tried to take the running game away in the very beginning of the game as much as they could. And Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra. So they dared us to win with someone else. They didn't care if it was J-Mo. They didn't care who it was. They dared us to try to beat them with someone else. And we did, and eventually they kind of caught on to J-Mo towards the end of the game there. Because, I mean, at the end of the fourth quarter and the beginning of overtime, J-Mo didn't have a catch, right? Well, nobody did. They went back to the running game, ground and pound, stuff it down your face. You're not going to get a chance to even touch the ball. Here we go. And whether we had to kick a field goal or get the touchdown in overtime, Dan was going to run it down to where there was absolutely no time left, no matter what. If it worked out that way, there was no way he was going to let the Rams even touch that ball if he had a chance with any time whatsoever left on that clock.
Yeah, I think that there was a little bit of concern, honestly. After watching this game a couple of times now, I am a bit concerned that we don't have the bigger wide receiver ready to go. It'll be interesting to see who steps up today, and if in fact they're going to be able to step up not only for this weekend, but for the season, because we do need somebody. It was evident in this game this weekend that we were missing a piece. It's very difficult to limit Amon-Ra St. Brown as it is, but to limit him and Sam Laporta, that's a big problem. But having to rely on the running game, look, I'm comfortable with that too.
Yep.
You can't control everybody. You're not going to be able to stop everyone. And I think that that's the biggest point that I've been making all offseason is, okay, you've got Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta, J-Mo, when he shows up, which he showed up, right, big time in week 1. And then you got Demo and Gibbs. Good luck stopping everybody. And I think that that's what was on display this weekend is 2/5 of our offense was taken from us, but we still had 3 other guys that we could utilize. The problem is you can't have them all on the field at the same time. You can have 4 of them on the field. I mean, you could have 5, but you're going to limit yourself into other things that you're going to be able to do. We love to run out of 11 personnel as well, and go big, whether it's the jumbo set or 12 personnel, but we run a lot out of 11 personnel, just like LA does. It looks very similar, but it's also very different. So I want to see it not happen this weekend. That will make me feel better that it won't happen this weekend. And we'll talk about, the Bucs obviously starting tomorrow. Tonight we do have fantasy football tonight though. Second episode will be on at 7:30ish tonight with Jared Eisenlohr. Man, he hit big time all last week with his predictions. So, and then shout out, we got a new member this morning.
Right on.
Daniel Inch just welcomed himself into the Lions faithful. Thank you for joining the membership. That's 110 memberships now in just over 2 weeks.
Right on.
So we'll move on from this topic. I'm concerned, but I'll be less concerned when Amon-Ra St. Brown has a good game this weekend. And that's where you see the ebb and the flow of Amon-Ra doing his thing, J-Mo doing his thing, Laporta doing his thing, and they're all working together, mixing it up. I think that, we had a pretty or fairly vanilla playbook this weekend. Even though it was up against the top opponent, you would like to think that there was a full install in there, and I'm sure there was some select plays that were available that may or may not have been used. But I don't think that the entire playbook was on display in this game as it should be. The Lions got away from David Montgomery early in this game was also another question. And according to Colton Pouncey, it nearly cost us. I don't know that that's really the truth for me. I think that the answer here was the middle of our offensive line was having a little bit of trouble. Demo got off to a slow start. I mean, he had a couple of good runs there in the first couple of series, but largely, I want to say it was after the first quarter, he started to slow down. They inserted Jahmyr Gibbs to go into a different direction because it wasn't about taking Demo out. It's just when St. Brown and Laporta couldn't get going, well, you have to insert Jahmyr Gibbs because you need that option out of the backfield. You have to have another pass catcher. Not that Demo can't catch the pass out of the backfield, but there's so much more that Jahmyr Gibbs can do by going out to the slot. So I think that there may be something missed here. I don't think that we went away from David just because. I think it was intentional because we had to have another pass catcher on the field. And even though Jahmyr wasn't used a whole lot in the passing game, at least the option was there, trying to spread the field a little bit more, working to get Amon-Ra St. Brown and Laporta open, but it helped out, paid big dividends with Amon-Ra or with J-Mo. So do you think it was an issue that we took out Montgomery?
No, because I think they were trying to hit the power ball. They were trying to hit the let's get the electrician going. You soften them up with Demo. Now it's time to get Gibbs going. And one of the things earlier I wanted to mention was I looked at who was active for the game and who played and who didn't play. There was 2 players that were active for the game that didn't see a snap, Hendon Hooker and Isaiah Williams. And I found it kind of strange that they didn't try to get Isaiah Williams out there with them, with Laporta, and maybe it was because Laporta and St. Brown were having a rough patch. Because he is a rookie and has never played a snap in the NFL.
Second point on here before we get to the roster, the defense has more to prove. I think that's a fair point. I think that there's a lot more that we have not seen from this defense. And let me read you what Colton Pouncey put out here. So he says, depending on your vantage point, this was either a commendable effort for Aaron Glenn's unit or more of the same from this defense. With that statement, I would say this. Both. There was both, right? We were consistently open and getting gashed in the middle of this defense, number one. Number two, where it was different is we actually had 2 edge rushers that were performing. Where it was the same, and you're not going to like this about Aiden, and I'm glad I'm not the only one that shares this feeling. This was a patchwork offensive line. Like they were missing, three of their guys, 3 starters. And you got a guy playing center that doesn't belong at center. And Aiden, yes, he got pressure, but let's be realistic here. Remember, pressure, you're just moving that tackle 1 yard back beyond the line of scrimmage, right? Or into the pocket. That's it. So the fact that he couldn't get more sacks, get to Matthew Stafford, that was more of the same. So I agree with this that, yes, there was more of the same. Will it get better? Absolutely. Is Matthew Stafford one of the best at getting that ball out in under 2.5 seconds? I don't think I've seen him take more than a 3-step drop, maybe more than a couple of times. I mean, it was bang, 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 out. Bang, bang, bang. I mean, that's what we reviewed last night. He never really took more than a 3-step drop. Or it was a short 5 shuffle, where he was shuffling his feet real quick, setting and throwing. I mean, he rarely got off his second target. I mean, it was first progression, second. I mean, the ball was out. And he was usually Cup or Puka when Puka was available. They were getting the ball. I mean, Cup had 20 targets on the night or something crazy?
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
So that was more of the same. Okay. And so I think that it's going to get better. 1,000%, I believe it. And we're going to go up against some offensive lines that, man, we're going to look like all pros all over the place because we're just going to completely destroy these guys. And we'll get to those games, as we get to them. But here's the good, according to Colton Pouncey. The Lions took everything this Rams offense had, albeit shorthanded, and won. Matthew Stafford played out of his mind for the second time in a row at Ford Field and still lost. The Rams were held to 20 points. You guys know I've been calling the 20 points. You win games if you keep teams under 20 points. This was another game that I said it was going to be under 20. I thought it'd be 17, but the Rams ended up getting 20 with that extra field goal. The Rams were held to 20 points, limited to 3.6 yards per rush and 83 rushing yards, and then went 2 for 5 in the red zone. Great red zone defense this year already. Were pressured 27 times, of which 11 of those were by Aiden Hutchinson. Detroit's defense recorded 25 splash plays in the game, tied for 8th most in the league. Here's the bad. There were a few whiffed sacks by Detroit's edge rushers. Uncharacteristic missed tackles from Brian Branch and others. 2 dropped interceptions. I counted 3 that were there for the taking, and some penalties on Terry and Arnold. Too many first downs given up. Too many passing yards allowed for Stafford. Some communication issues in the secondary as a result of the Rams' motion usage, which was, impeccable. And the bunch formations causing a lot of misdirection, off the snap. and an overall bend but don't break showing of defense that allowed the Rams to move the ball with regularity before the defense tightened up in the red zone. So with all that said, here's what I see. We can improve. We can improve. We can improve. We can improve. That's what I see. I see that we didn't play a perfect game. I see that because of that, this defense is only going to get better. We are so far from playing the defense that we're going to be able to play. The good side of this, though, is we're going to talk about it with the Starsky and Hutch segment here. This team is going to have something unique that we haven't seen in the last 3 seasons since Dan Campbell took the reins here, and since Aaron Glenn has been this defensive coordinator. We're going to see something that we haven't seen yet, and that is just how impactful Aiden is going to be in this game when he has a capable defensive end on the other side, and the usage of defensive backs that are able to limit what the opposing receivers are able to do. This is a very difficult game from the perspective of top-notch wide receivers that we have to go against with young DBs, and 2 DBs that are still learning, to mesh with the team. So, what are your remarks on those statements there, Eric?
Yeah, listen, this defense is going to take a little time to gel. We have a bunch of new parts, new pieces that are all coming together. It's going to take a little while. But if you break this game down into quarters, it tells kind of a story here. So if you look at the first quarter, the Los Angeles Rams won 3-0. If you break it down to the second quarter, the Lions won 10-0. So we're 1-1, right? Third quarter, we tied them 7-7. The fourth quarter, they came back and won 10-3. They won by 7. Then you go to overtime, we win 6-0. So this was a dead even heat. They won 2 quarters, we won 2 quarters, and then we ended up winning in overtime. And what won us in overtime? Running the ball, ball control, not even letting them have a chance. No chance at an interception. If you watch David Montgomery, he had 2 hands on the ball every time he touched that ball. Same thing with Gibbs. When they touched that ball yesterday, it was ball control, ball control, ball control. Do not give up a fumble. Don't give up a fumble. And Gibbs almost did on that first touchdown, but thankfully he was in before it came out. But that's my thoughts on it, that you got to look at it from perspective. So you have to back up and look at it per quarter. How did they do? It's like 5 separate little games, and thankfully we won 3 out of the 5 games. And that's what put us over the top.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. If you break it down by segment, 1,000%. You've got to win it in segments, right? When you talk about the season, you talk about it in quarters. Yep. Alex Anzalone said the same thing. You've got to win 3 out of 4 games in every quarter. You have to. Some quarters you have to win them all. But to start the season, you really can't have more than 1 loss per quarter. If you're considering to get into the postseason, number 1, if you're considering to win the NFC again, the NFC North, number 2, and if you want a shot at the NFC Championship, you have to have 13 wins, 12, 13 wins this season. I think 14 wins will get us the 1 seed for sure. I think 13 would keep us close, but that's why beating your NFC teams early is a must. This was a must-win game. Just like this week, it is a must-win game.
Yep.
So I do have 1 ticket available. Speaking of this game, I do have 1 ticket available for this game sitting in my section. There's 1 individual that I'm waiting to see if he's going to snag it up. But there's 1 ticket. If you're interested, email me at mailbag@rockdon.com. So, all right, Broski. Broski wanted to get our thoughts on Amik Robertson and Carlton Davis. I'll give you PFF's thoughts, okay? Carlton Davis struggled at times. He had a lot of slippage going on in this game. Don't know why. Maybe it was a shoe selection issue. We heard some rumor that there was some sort of a disinfectant that was sprayed on the turf and it may not have cured. If that happened, whoever that person is that's in charge of that better be fired today. Better be fired. If it's a hired company, cancel the contract. That is an epic failure. But more so, how many times did the Rams slip?
I don't know. I've noticed slipping on both teams.
Yeah, I didn't notice a whole lot from the Rams. So I would say that this was probably a cleat issue. This, whatever they decided to wear, and then if they didn't change it in the second half, that's their fault. But you got to be careful what cleats you're wearing, on this turf. The biggest snafu here is that they didn't practice on this field at all during the preseason, during training camp. Why wouldn't you practice on your own field? It doesn't make any sense to me. We used to have family night. Did I miss family night? Did it happen this year?
Nope.
I don't know if it's a nope. I don't know if I missed it. But usually we used to have a family night where, you could come down to a practice at Ford Field. I don't know that it happened this year. And if it did, I missed it.
It was at the Meyer Performance Center. We had family night, but it was down there.
Meyer Performance Center?
Yeah.
You mean Allen Park?
Yeah.
When?
It was one of the nights. It was a Saturday night practice.
Well, I was at the Saturday night practice, but I don't know that was considered a family night.
Oh, okay.
Well, family night's a bit different. That's it's way different than, it's not usually a training camp practice.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so here we go. Carlton Davis, overall for his first game, 68.4. That's his PFF grade. Run defense, extremely solid, 83. I mean, that's really solid for him. It's solid for any corner in this league. And the thing that you're going to notice, and the thing that I've been saying, that I've noticed with the DBs that we bring in, is that the DBs have to be very good in the run game. Have to. It is a must. It is something that Brad Holmes will not go away from. All the DBs that we have brought in have always been really good. And I know that there's some people out there that knock that, that say, corner shouldn't have to be good in the run game. And why are we bringing in these guys, to be good against the run game? Well, this is why. You shut down the run and you make them more one-dimensional. You are supposed to be better, right? You should have more opportunity on the back end. You should be able to come up with more interceptions. You should be able to play against the pass a lot better. And it just, this game was more of the same for us. We just were not in the right fit. I mean, we reviewed the tape last night together. We were in zone way too often. Way, way, way too often. And we got eaten alive in zone. And I hope that we don't continue to make that mistake. But I also believe, my opinion alone may be, that Aaron Glenn probably did not want to put these guys into a position to lose too often against this Rams high-powered offense. Going man the entire game could have been a bad idea. It could have been. But going more man and going more man press heavy, I think, was needed at certain times. And we just didn't do it often enough. But I think we'll see more of it as this team gets more comfortable, right? As the DBs start to gel and they get more comfortable. There was some communication issues. And if you're going to play man, you definitely can't have any communication issues. So Carlton had a good game. Good game. Improvement, sure. He was targeted 13 times, of which 9 were caught. So, I mean, that's not great. It's not terrible, but it's not great. His coverage grade was a 63.9. And he played a total of, 76 snaps? So, passer rating allowed, 122. God awful. That number has to be down in the 80s at a minimum. I'd like to even see it further down than that. This is a number that I'll be paying attention to all season. 12.7 yards per reception. God awful. Those things can happen. But overall, good. I think I gave him a C+ is where I gave him for his first outing. I don't think anyone's going to get more than a C+ for me in week 1. Now, Amik the Freak, he played in, let me dial him in real quick. He played in about 40, less than 40 snaps, but it looks like about 34 snaps, 35, 36 snaps total. Run defense grade, his best grade of the game, 69.4. Coverage 58.1. So not so great. Now there's certain things that we look at. There's certain things that we look at here when we evaluate these guys, right? It's game one. There's a lot going on here. Amik obviously wasn't in on every play, but he was in a lot of the big dime, big nickel packages. He did okay, but again, he was only targeted 3 times and he allowed 1 reception. So not bad, right? 33% passer rating allowed, 57.6. That's a great game, but he wasn't targeted a whole bunch. He had 2 solo tackles. Didn't do well in coverage. This is what doesn't make sense to me. How is this coverage grade of 58.1 with a passer rating of 57.6? Now, I think the reason why it's so bad is because he allowed 20 yards on that 1 catch. So that's probably what drove down the algorithm, which I can only assume PFF has some crazy algorithm for this stuff, because when you just look at the stats, it doesn't make any sense. I think throughout this season, I'm going to make my own chart like PFF. I'm going to create my own algorithm, and I'm going to base it just on their basic stats and see where these guys line up and see if it comes close at the end of the year. What did you think about both of their performances?
Listen, I was watching in person. I wasn't. I was really trying to pay attention to Terrion, Amik, and Carlton Davis as much as I could. And when I did watch Amik, he had his dude locked down. Whoever he was with, he was sticky with them and didn't come close to getting the ball thrown his way. And that was the 6-8 plays that I watched of Amik. Carlton Davis, on the other hand, some of his guys were getting open when I watched them. And a few of the plays were the ones where they caught balls on him. And I was not disappointed, but I wasn't exactly happy with the way Carlton was out there. And then he should have had an easy interception. The ball ended up going through his hands, hit him in the chest, and then he fell down and got the wind knocked out of him. Should have easily had an interception. So that one, he needs to go work on the jug machine. I think all the corners and Brian Branch, they all need to go work on that jugs machine. We should have had 3 or 4 interceptions in this game. Easy.
So, yeah, I mean, with that, I mean, you're going to have ebbs and flows to the season. It being week 1, these guys definitely need to work on their hands. Clover Quinn always talks about it, man. He talks about hand school. I don't know why he hasn't started his own hand school by now, because, I mean, he was one of the best to do it, right? I mean, he was one of the best to do it in the Honolulu Blue. What did he snag, like 6 or 7 interceptions in the one season? And I think he ended his career in Detroit with the most interceptions for a DB, or at least for a safety.
Yeah.
And I don't think I think Quandre Diggs is the only one that's even close. So when I look at it, overall, it was a good performance. And someone mentioned in here about Terrion Arnold being a better tackler. That dude, he can tackle. I mean, just some of the first plays that we've seen with Terrion Arnold getting involved. I mean, he threw Kupp out of bounds. I mean, he grabbed him by the chest and just kind of threw him over top of his shoulder and rolled him out of bounds. But even when he didn't have the sideline plays, when he had to come up, read and react and come up and make the play in the slot or, off into the flats, he's a wrap tackler. He will wrap around you, and I call it grappling hooks, man. He puts those long arms around you, and he doesn't let you go. Terrion is very, very keyed in on the tackling drill, man, because he does it with perfection, and I hope it sticks around. I hope I'm not, calling him out and then it doesn't happen this weekend. So I think that he's going to be just fine. Terrion, he had a couple of penalties, a couple of big penalties. 50-50, right? Yeah. One I think was okay. The other one, too much ticky-tacky stuff here. Did not look like it belonged, in the realm of being called for a penalty. And I'm sure they'll look at these things, right? And they're just going to have to say, look, Terrion, you just got to turn your head. You turn your head at this point, and that flag's probably not thrown. But then again, I wouldn't change a dang thing that he did. And Dan Campbell said the same thing. Not going to change anything that Terrion Arnold's doing right now, because his aggressiveness is what they need. If they catch a penalty, every so often, they just have to be able to make up for it. But good refs aren't going to call this. Maybe we had a couple of LA refs in the house because that was a really, really, really bad call.
Yeah, I went back and rewatched the game again yesterday, the actual TV broadcast, and then I watched it again with you on All 22. And the thing I took away from it was maybe the camera angles that they had were a little bit different than where I was sitting, because the first one, it did look like he held the guy a little bit, but man, he played the ball. He hit the ball. So, I mean, they're hand fighting. It was nothing. There was no jersey tug. There was no grab of the jersey on either one of them. He didn't impede the receiver from being able to go up for the ball. They're hand fighting. It happens on every single play. So I don't know why they called the flag, but I could see it on the TV broadcast and they're like, oh, that's definitely pass interference and blah, blah, blah. I think they just have to say whatever the refs do, that's what they have to go with in the broadcast.
Yeah.
It definitely seems like they never want to be like, oh, the ref got that one wrong.
Yeah, they try to defend the refs. So Bobu says the air traffic control crew is just getting started. I see the picks coming. I look, I'm right there with you, dude. Steve K says we held the Rams to 20 points. Will, you have said it. If we can do that, we should win. Rust will come off. 1,000% agree. I mean, I got to agree with the thing that I say, right? I have to. That's the key. That's the key this year. It's the key every year. Matter of fact, let me pause for a second. Now, I'm gonna put it to the test. Now, it's week 1, so a lot of crap happens in week 1. But for the majority of a season, when you go back and you look at all of the teams that win, they hold their opponent to 20 points or less. So let's do the exercise real quick. How many teams lost that were held to under 20 points in week 1? This is going to be a segment that I'm going to do every week. I just added it to the roster. We're going to start with the Ravens and Chiefs. Chiefs 27 to the Ravens 20. Eagles 34-29 over the Packers. Now there's one game where they scored more than 20 and they still won. Saints 47-10 for the Panthers. So that's 2-1. Vikings 28-6 over the Giants. So that's 3-1. Patriots 16-10. That's 4-1. Steelers 18-10, 5-1. Texans 29-27. So we are 5-2. Cardinals lost to the Bills 34-28. So we are 5-3. Bears shouldn't have won, but 24-17 over the Titans. So we are 6-3. Dolphins 20-17. So we're 7-3. Seahawks 26-20, that's 8-3. Chargers 22-10, that's 9-3. Cowboys 33-17, 10-3. Buccaneers 37-20 over the Commanders, that is 10-3. The Lions 26-20, that's 11-3, and the 49ers over the Jets, that's 12-3. I mean, actually should be 13-3. There's 16 games in the first week, correct? Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's 13-3. So 13 teams win by holding their opponent to 20 points or less. You think I'm full of it now? I'm telling you, that is the magical number. It used to be 17. And it used to be 17 until the NFL changed the rules to allow these guys to not get hit over the middle. That added another 3 points on average to every single game. And it could be a little bit more than that. I mean, you could probably bump it to 21. But I'm still rolling with 20 until I see something different. I mean, the proof is there. Out of 16 games, 13 games are under 20 points. The opponent loses. So I know I'm not always talking out of the left side of my mouth. Sometimes I get some things right? Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I had a request. Let's talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Shout out to Jade Rock this morning. Appreciate you, buddy. Love you. Good morning. So Amon-Ra, the stats are not great. 6 targets, 3 receptions, 13 receiving yards, no touchdowns, 51.1 overall PFF grade, receiving 48.6. Just, I mean, a bad first game. But was it all Amon-Ra St. Brown? No. Was it partly because of JG? Sure. Was it going up against a really good defensive front? Absolutely. Was Jared Goff under consistent pressure? He was. Not all the time, but he was. There were some plays that we highlighted last night where Amon-Ra was wide open and JG just didn't hit him. He had some pressure on him. He got sacked. Matter of fact, one of the plays that Amon-Ra was wide open, JG took a sack. But it was a sack that, the pressure was coming. You had guys leaking everywhere through that offensive line. So he just didn't feel comfortable about getting the ball out, I'm sure. And, this is a game where we've got the lowest passer rating when targeted for Amon-Ra St. Brown is 16.7. So that's not good. Not good at all. There's really not a whole lot more I can talk about Amon-Ra here. He was bracketed. He was doubled. He had over coverage everywhere he went. And I just don't know how they did both. I really don't know. I don't understand. I'm going to have to watch it all over again. I don't understand how they were able to hold both Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown and limit them the way that they did. So did JG just not get through his progressions quick enough? Possibly. But I do believe that the pressure up front had a lot to do with this. And quarterbacks are going to have a tough game when they're under pressure. And then you have, a defense that is obviously doing everything that it can to keep Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta in front of them and locking them down with bracketed coverage. So if JG only has a few yards of separation, well, that gap can be closed, quite quickly if JG's off his back foot or if he's having to move through the pocket in an area where he doesn't feel comfortable getting the ball out. This is a really good Rams defense. Really good. Even though they were missing key pieces, their defensive front, Byron Young, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner. This is an extremely, extremely good defensive front. They're going to be tops in the league by the end of the season if they stay healthy. We are going to see them again in the playoffs. I guarantee it. We might even see them in the NFC championship game. They could go that deep. What do you think, Eric?
I absolutely agree with that. The whole time we were at this game, I was thinking, my God, we're going to have to play these guys again. And hopefully they have to come here. Hopefully we're not going to LA to play these guys.
Yeah, that would
they
suck.
are going to be an absolute force. I'm going to say it right now. The LA Rams are going to win the NFC West. They are going to win the NFC West. They are going to be better than the San Francisco 49ers. Even after watching that first game and they won it without McCaffrey, I don't care. The Rams are better than the San Francisco 49ers. I think that was a tougher game for the Lions than the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I called the Rams in the very beginning of this season training camp. It was I think it was preseason game 1 is when I did my board, and I just haven't changed it. That's what I'm rolling with. All right, so next up on the roster, Lions add a kicker. Now, this is just insurance. Of course, I think that this has been great addition for Jake Bates. He needs someone to talk to, right? They got him a buddy. Got him a buddy for the season. The Detroit Lions have gotten some insurance for the kicker, obviously Jake Bates. On Tuesday, they signed Greg Joseph to the practice squad, former Packer. Now, according to this agent, this deal is already done. So Joseph, 30 years old, has made appearances in 5 NFL seasons. Since 2018, he spent 3 seasons with the Vikings. He made 82.2% of his kicks. He was 51 of 52 from inside the 40. That's incredible. 17 of 23 between 40 and 49. And 15 of 26 from kicks of 50 plus with a long field goal. Get this, 61 yards, which came in the 2022 season. Now, last season, Joseph was perfect from up to 39 yards on 17 tries, 3 of 6 on tries between 40 to 49, and 4 of 7 from 50 plus. I mean, not terrible. Joseph signed with the Green Bay Packers this offseason after his contract with the Minnesota Vikings expired. He made the initial 53-man roster, but was released before week 1 in Sunday's 26-20 overtime win against the Rams. The rookie, obviously Jake Bates, 2 of 2 on field goals for the Detroit Lions. 1 from 25 yards where I was holding my head between my knees, literally. and the other was from 32, which quite honestly, I was not worried about the 32-yarder, which tied the game, obviously sends us to overtime. So big ups to Jake Bates. Got a buddy for the season, and big ups to, who is that? Broski Bear. $8 super chat says, as always, great show, and I respect the non-clickbait thumbnails and your morning start time. Keep getting some. Appreciate you, Broski. Broski says he's a Bears fan. I don't believe it, Broski.
He watches every single Lions show on the planet.
I don't believe it, dude. I think that you are either a closet Lions fan or you are, one of the creators out there that is just gleaning information from all of us. But whatever. Appreciate you having you in the show. All teams are welcome in here. This is a Lions show, but each week we will have other fans in here, especially in some of the the late night live shows that we do. There'll be fans in here from other teams, and as long as we treat each other with respect, that's all that matters. And quite honestly, I've seen nothing but respect between teams, and that's a big reason why I thoroughly enjoyed my team with the PFUFA during the Hall of Fame week, because I learned a lot. And what I learned is this game is bigger than what's between the white lines, and the fans of this team, the super fans, if you want to call them that, man, they do such an excellent job in their communities and with each other. And that's what it's all about. That's what this channel's really all about, is the fans, the connection, the community. And for me personally, trying to help others battling cancer with the Rocked On Cancer Foundation. Don't forget to check out buymeacoffee.com/rocked on if you'd like to get your raffle tickets. We've got a few different raffles going on right now. All the proceeds will go towards the Rocked On Cancer Foundation. And next week we are kicking off the kids drive. I haven't named it yet. I'll name it this week. I got to come up with a name for it. Not sure what we're doing. Before we get to the next segment here, Eric, what you got any thoughts or keys that you want to share?
Casey in the chat says, I view Packers, Bears, and Vikings as content creators, so no big deal. Yeah, I view those teams as content creators too. Oh, that is too funny.
I must have went over my head. I must have missed it.
No, we view the other teams as content creators instead of NFL teams.
Oh, I got you.
Your,
I got you now. That is good, Casey. I get it now. I get it. Let's do Alim McNeill before we do the whole Starsky and Hutch thing here. I'm just going to read this from the Detroit News. So it says most NFL players find it hard. Most NFL players find it hard to sleep after games. This was week 1. I mean, heart's beating out of your chest, right? You got anxiety, whatever it is that you're going through as an NFL football player, coach, team owner, fan, even. Which, I mean, it was tough for us to get to sleep when we got back, but we ended up having to go to sleep because we had a show in the morning. But it's particularly a problem following a primetime matchup like the ones the Detroit Lions obviously had with the Rams on Sunday night. But it sounded like Alim McNeill was able to make good use of his insomnia that night, going through the tape of the 26-20 overtime win. And he had this to say. He says, I was up till 4 a.m, just laying there. I watched the film. And then, crazy enough, Reba was on. I was watching Reba, McNeill said. It must have been Reba McEntire. She used to have a show on back in the day. I didn't watch it a ton, but you'd catch it every once in a while. That's the only Reba that I can think of. And it's kind of funny because Dan Campbell obviously was a fan of Reba as well. And McNeill's had this to say, said, my girlfriend's been watching it lately a lot. So I've just been, Reba just running the whole night. And then I look at my phone and it's 4 a.m. I don't know if they had the day off the next day. They might have just been a tape review day. I'm not real sure what they do the day after games. Lions head coach Dan Campbell, born Texan, obviously, who played for the Dallas Cowboys when Reba was on the airwaves, got a kick out of Alim McNeill's quote there. And he said, he was what? Campbell said with a smile. And then he goes on to say, look, it's hard to sleep, especially when you get home at, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock. It's hard because your mind's racing and you're watching the tape. You're thinking about it, just all the different plays, what you could have done, what you want to do, what went right, and what went wrong. So I can imagine, I remember that as a player, so I can understand what Mac's talking about. You go through it, and I think that's what's hard about a night game. It's impossible to sleep, I think. Even as tired as you are, it's just hard. The mind just won't go to sleep. Very true. I mean, even as a fan, we have those nights, right? I can't imagine as a player, you've got everything going through your head. I mean, it's week one. How did I do? What, like he said, what went right? What went wrong? And then he just went through the tape. And so he's reevaluating himself. And Alim didn't have a crazy good game. It's not like he jumped off the page, but that's where I believe, the next segment when we're kind of talking about this Starsky and Hutch kind of mentality to this team, I think he did just fine. And I think that this is what we're going to see, through some parts of this season, that not everybody is just going to jump off the page with a bunch of stats. But what did he do, getting grimy in the middle of this defense? How did he affect the game to allow Alim McNeill to allow Hutch to have the pressures, right? To allow Davenport, to be able to get in and hit Matthew Stafford 6 times. That's what Alim does, right? He's doing the dirty work, but we also expect him to be a pass rushing defensive tackle. Week 2 can be a little bit different, I think, for Alim McNeill. I think we're going to see Alim McNeill jump off the page in week 2, and I'm calling that early on a Wednesday. Alim McNeill is going to be the benefactor of DJ Reader entering this game against the Tampa Bay Bucks. So overall player grade for Alim in week 1 was a 67.9, 69 in the pass rush, 57.5 in run defense. He only had 1 solo tackle. Looks like he played in 68 snaps, so almost the entire game. Only had 1 pressure, 1 hurry. It's still not terrible. For a defensive tackle, that's not terrible. They didn't run at Alim McNeill a whole lot. They really didn't. They either ran on the outside of Hutch, where, there was a lot of broken plays, or they ran on the opposite side of Jonah, in between the tackle and the guard. So, look, I'm not disappointed with how Alim played. I think that they had a plan, and that plan was to limit as many guys as they could, and they just couldn't limit Hutch or Davenport as much as they wanted to. Here's a big stat, though. Let's talk about Starsky and Hutch next, but what do you think about Alim McNeill? I mean, look, he couldn't shut it off. That's fine. This guy wants to win. He's in a contract year. He needs to have some big games. And I kind of said it the other day when, okay, Alim didn't jump off the page in week 1. Is this part of the reason why he didn't get a contract before the season? Are the Lions noticing some things that maybe they didn't like? I doubt it. I really do. I think Alim's going to be fine. I think he's going to have a great season. But these things can hurt him, right? If he starts living inside his head because he's in a contract season, he could go the opposite way. He could have a bad season because he's consistently thinking about a contract. That's where contracts can hurt you. If you don't get it done before the season starts, that contract's living rent-free in his head now. And I hope it doesn't impact him. I really do. But what do you got to say about Alim McNeill and his performance in week 1?
Alim McNeill, he's in a contract year, and you cannot tell me that is not playing in his head. I have to be good. I have to be good. I have to be great. So when he's not world beater, getting sacks, this and that, getting to the quarterback every other play, that's got to affect him, especially when he's going up against an interior lineman or a center that he's played a billion times in Jonah Jackson, or some kid that comes off the street that's a 7th round pick. Might look kind of bad when you're in a contract year, so that's going to affect him, and he's going to stay up late. He's going to beat himself up. So I think he'll get it. I think he'll get it turned around, and I think he'll get it turned around starting this week against the Bucks. And it's because his compadre, DJ Reader's coming back. He's going to be back this week. It's going to make a big difference, because having Chris Smith next to you, or Levi O, compared to DJ Reader, it's much, much different much different. And Kyle Pico, I noticed on the very first play of the game, it was like the first or second play of the game that Pico was in there. And I'm telling you what, that guy was right into the backfield and stuffed a run for, I think, like a 1-yard loss. And I was like, whoa, this guy is amazing. And then he disappeared the whole rest of the game. I don't think he played all that much, but I didn't really notice him the whole rest of the game. Even watching the replay, I really didn't notice him much. So he needs somebody else. And I think he's better when someone else is better next to him.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring in Alim McNeill's press conference here, talking about defensive mentality. You guys let me know right away if you can or cannot hear the audio, but we're going to roll it right now. Oh, hold on. Uh-oh. Try again.
With that being our first game, there's a lot of things you can clean up. And going forward, we're looking to do and continue to do the same.
Do you guys have audio yet? Let me double check it on my end. One sec. You good now? Okay. Let me rewind it.
There it is.
How's it going?
Still lots of things to clean up probably after watching the tape, but just, the whole, that team to under 4 yards rushing for attempts to have, I think it was, 12 quarterback hits. Just what you think of the performance first time out, you guys as a collective group?
I thought it was solid. We know we can be better in certain areas, little small details here and there. But I thought we got to the quarterback. I thought we affected him. And I thought we played, we did our job in the run game. But like I was saying, there's always little small details you can always clean up. And, with that being our first game, there's a lot of things you can clean up. And going forward, we're looking to do and continue to do the same thing, affecting the quarterback, affecting the run game. So I think it was solid for our first outing.
I love Alim McNeill. I like the way that he speaks, right? He is so down to earth. Like, he knows there's so much more to this game each and every week that they can clean up, right? He just said that. But there's so much more to this game that he knows that they can do as a unit. And in the fact that he recognizes that there is a lot more for this team ahead of them, there is more to come, that should make us feel a little bit more confident that even though he kind of had a week off, if you will, from the stat sheet, he still affected the quarterback, right? They collectively as a group, they did what they needed to do. And I'm going to point back, right? And I'm pointing the finger back at myself again. That's why I call it a hive defense. That's why I tell everyone that there is no one person on this team that should be bigger than the next. There's no one person on this team that is more important than the other guy. All of them working together to get the end result, which is a W, is the only thing that matters. And that's why I don't care about the sacks, all on one guy. I care about seeing, all these guys contributing and doing what they need to do week in and week out. And Alim recognizes that. And I think that he's going to play the exact way he needs to play to help his team win.
Marcus in that group, too, of just the game you thought he had and how he impacted that other side opposite Hutch.
Davenport, you've seen it. He's physical. He's a presence out there. And that's just who he is. That's how he plays. And every time I'm on the field, I can always hear him hitting somebody to the side or something. So he's real physical, and he's going to get off that edge when he wants to. Yeah, I always hear Davenport hitting somebody, always. You can always hear it. He's head first all the time. So you can always hear when he's hitting somebody.
First impressions of playing next to
Well, I don't know if that's a good thing. Where you said Davenport is head first all the time. You can always hear when he's hitting somebody. Look, that's great that Davenport is that physical. right? And that he's getting after these guys and he's making good hard contact. But I don't know if head first is the way that you want to be, going at this. That's too many car collisions every game,
Well, I mean, me and Levi played together before, so I mean, but Levi that's who he is. That's the type of player that he is. He's worked and got himself back in that position to be Levi again, and he's comfortable. You saw him. He's got a sack last night, so he's doing great. I'm really excited to see what Levi does.
You guys held the Rams to 20 points. Tim mentioned some of the other positive stats, but every defensive player I talked to in the locker room was kind of fixated on their mistakes. Yeah. I'm just wondering why that's the mentality in that locker room. Like, why
Great question.
To appreciate the accomplishment the moment you're already, the mindset is, where can I get better?
Yeah, I mean, because you want to hold them to 0 points. I think we had them at 3 at halftime, and we wanted to keep it there. It was 3 too many. But that's just always our mindset here is like, how can you get better every day, every second of the day? Like, what can we do to fix this, fix that? Because you want to hold them to 0. You can't score, you can't win. So, yeah, that's always our mindset.
What a mentality change. Eric, correct me if I'm wrong here, but 5 seasons ago, under Quinn Trisha, we didn't have this type of mentality in the locker room. It seemed like there was far too often where you had finger pointing, right? And it kind of came out in different ways. But guys would almost make these like snide little remarks that, maybe this person didn't do this well or this person didn't do that well. And that's because, I couldn't do my job well at that point. You kind of deduce that from the conversations after the game, or throughout the week or the quotables. This year, and I mean, all seasons that Dan Campbell's really been the head coach, but especially this last 2 seasons, these guys are right in it, man. They just want to get better. They're focusing on what did I do wrong immediately after the game because they know that they can be that much better. What a difference a coach can make on a team and an impression that they can leave with you when they say, you've got more inside you. There's more that you can do. You could be better. Now we just got to fix it. We own it and we fix it. And that's exactly what Alim McNeill is saying right here is like, we don't want these guys to score at all. We want them to have, goose eggs up there. But 3 was 3 too many by halftime. We want to keep, what a statement. That's incredible. So I guess correct me if I'm wrong here, Eric, though. This is a different mindset for this team that we're slowly adopting over the last few seasons.
Oh, yeah. And you know where it comes from. It comes from Dan Campbell. The whole grit mentality. We are a reflection of our head coach. And that is exactly what the Detroit Lions are now. They used to be a reflection of their head coach when Matt Patricia was here. And what was he worried about? He was worried about Darius Slay doing a jersey swap at the end of the game and whether he was doing something to some other guy's body part. You don't hear that kind of stuff coming out of Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell says, hey, this is on me. I think we scored too many points. It's my fault because I didn't put these guys in the right position to stop these guys from scoring any points whatsoever. Where you never got that out of Patricia. He was so horrible. It was, this guy's out of position and this guy's doing this wrong and this guy sucks. And this guy's just worried about swapping jerseys with somebody. And I'm too worried about playing with my pencil under my ear,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you're going to have I seen the comment in there. We're going to have a little bit of reverb or echo during this portion. I still haven't figured out how to play audio from a website and not have Eric have echo. I just can't. I can't figure it out. I don't. So I got to turn off. I got to turn off the desktop audio every time I ask him a question. But we'll go back into Alim here and finish it out.
Are you looking forward to DJ getting back, and just what did you see from him in those maybe snaps that you guys lined up in practice last week, and what kind of duo do you think you can be, and just how much talent and depth will you guys have up front once he gets back too?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what DJ does. Everybody in here knows exactly who DJ Reader is as a player. He's a vet, and he knows exactly what he's doing out there. He's really savvy in some things, and he's very good, very athletic. So I'm really, really excited to see how DJ, when he comes back, I'm excited to see how this goes, see how this plays. I think it's going to be great. We're definitely going to stuff the run, and we're going to be able to get after the quarterback. So I think it'll be really exciting.
How do you think he held
helps you? Like, what does he do for your game? What can he bring out?
Ooh.
He's going to have to take up some double teams. I'm going to be able to get some one-on-ones. So he has to take some double teams on because he's just going to destroy centers. That's just what he does, and that's what he did when he was in Cincy. So, yeah, he's going to take some double teams, and he's going to leave some one-on-ones on the other side. So
That's what I wanted to finish with right there. And then progress this into the Starsky and Hutch kind of conversation about Davenport and Hutchinson too. So Alim just hit the nail on the head, right? He's going to have to take up some double teams talking about DJ Reader. Super excited about when DJ makes it back to the squad. Projected date is the 15th of September against the Bucks. That is going to free up Alim to have some one-on-ones that he's going to be able to win. The biggest takeaway here is that they're going to continue to get to the quarterback, right? And he felt like they're going to be able to get to the quarterback even more than what we just did. Are you guys getting excited? I mean, I started to get chills a little bit because I can see, I can visualize it. I can see what's going to happen here. I can see Baker Mayfield running for his life this weekend because DJ Reader's crashing through the middle. And just like Alim said, he's going to crush the centers. And they're going to have to crack down on him with two players. They're going to have to, slide a guard over, back a tight end in behind, or bring a running back up, something. They're going to have to bring somebody in to try to keep DJ Reader out of that backfield. And when that happens, assuming that AG is as savvy as he is going to mix up some plays where they're either bringing a linebacker in behind DJ, right? Or they're crashing the end off of one side, whether it's Aiden or Davenport, leaving the edge and running behind and coming up behind DJ. I would love to see that happen because you're not going to be able to stop it. Just wait until DJ Reader gets inserted into this defense. It's going to be impactful in many ways. But Alim McNeill's stat sheet will improve. Not that it really matters. I don't care if Alim has one sack this whole season. If Davenport and Aiden, have 10, 12 sacks apiece or more, it doesn't matter how many Alim has. But I firmly believe that all of these guys across the front of this line are going to have a mixture of stats that play off of each other. You might have a game where 4 or 5 guys get a sack. You might have a game where 2 guys get multiple sacks. You might have a game where 1 guy gets multiple sacks. You might have a game where nobody gets a sack, but the quarterback has to consistently throw the ball out of bounds. And that's just as impactful. Even though you don't get a sack, they're still eliminating the play from happening. So those are the things that I'm going to pay attention to is just how impactful this defense is able to work together, or how impactful this defense is, against the quarterback from a multiple or a varying set of circumstances. And we'll see it this weekend. Eric, I know you're excited, but I threw this term out there, the Starsky and Hutch, right? I mean, the great duo, right? The great cop duo of the movies of the 90s or the 80s or whatever. I can't remember when it was. Mm-hmm. There was a remake of it, and that's what I'm seeing for Davenport and Hutch. I think that we're going to have a Starsky and Hutch type of season where these guys are going to benefit from one another. Here's a fun fact for you. Davenport had 6 quarterback hits this weekend. 6. John Kaminsky, all of last season, had 8. So you're going to tell me that Davenport wasn't the right pick for this team? 6, and Kaminsky had 8. And I'm not knocking Kaminsky. But when you can have that kind of an impact in one game, man, sky is the limit when you get DJ Reader inserted. You are not going to be able to control or stop. There's only so many offensive line you can have. There's only so many down linemen you're going to be able to put in. There's only so many tight ends you can put in the game. And then you're going to eliminate an option, right? So the more guys you stack on the offensive line to combat what our defensive line is doing, you are now eliminating one of your wide receiver options. You have 5 options on every play, right? 4 wide receivers and a running back, or 3 wide receivers and 2 running backs, or 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends and a running back. You get the point that I'm trying to make. There's 5 options. That's the most you can have. Every time you have to double somebody, you are eliminating one of those options. So if you have to double Reader, and if you have to double Alim, or if you have to double Hutch, or if you have to double Davenport, now you only have 3 options. And one of them is typically behind the line. So now you only have 2 receivers that are getting covered by 4 DBs. And then you have 3 linebackers that are going to be able to do whatever they want to do, or 2 at times. Do you guys see it yet? It's about to go down. Like, this defense is about to rise to the top, and quickly. This is a top defense brewing just after week 1, and it wasn't even our best performance yet. So how excited are you about this? And is Starsky and Hutch an appropriate term to use for what could be coming in week 2?
Sure. Listen, I'm really excited about Davenport. I thought he looked great. First game back, coming back from an injury-riddled season. He only played 4 games for the Vikings, and then he sat out the rest of the year. So somebody says, love the echo. Echo again. Yeah.
It's off. There you go.
There. Now we should be okay to go. But yeah, Davenport, I think he's going to be just fine. I love how big and physical the guy is. He's a beast. He's huge. And I liked how fast he was. He almost got there a couple times. He almost had some sacks. And I thought should have been credited with that half of one on Levi O when Levi got his, because he was there first, and then Levi came and cleaned it up.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. I thought that was his only sack of the game until I rewatched it. I missed the Davenport sack. So I saw the first one, right? And, and I'm with you. He got there first. He tripped up Stafford, and Levi finished it. Yeah. He should have gotten half on that. Maybe it gets corrected later, but I guess we're rolling with it the way that it is for now.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean 6 hits, 6 pressures. Sorry, 6 total pressures, 2 quarterback hits. Yeah. On Matthew Stafford. Where John Kaminsky only had 8 the entire season.
You know, we were talking about Reader there a minute ago. Go look at the scores for the NFL games this weekend. What was the big surprise score of the weekend? It was Cincinnati and the Patriots.
Oh yeah. You know, I kept looking at that Patriots game, and I thought, man, there's going to be one team that does something just stupid, and it was them.
But do you think it's because they're missing DJ Reader? You talk to any Cincy fan, man, they were absolutely horrified that the Lions signed DJ Reader.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're mortified the fact that they lost him and that power presence in the center of the defense.
Yep.
And so let's correct the stats. I used somebody else's stat line without verifying. So John Kaminsky had 7 quarterback hits in 2023. Davenport has already kicked off the season with 2 and 6 pressures. Kaminsky had 29 total pressures on the season. But still, the point should remain that we are already seeing the impact of what a capable defensive end can have on this game, opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. I'm not saying that it's just opposite of Aiden Hutchinson is the answer here, but you didn't need a $30 million guy. You absolutely did not. You needed someone that's really good at what they do, someone that complements the defense, someone that fits in and can work well with these guys. And that is exactly what Marcus Davenport is. I mean, the guy, when he's healthy, you've heard it from everybody. He is violent at the attack. You heard Alim. I mean, when the guy hits, you can hear it. We heard plenty of thuds in the stands during this game, Eric. I mean, plenty of thuds. Some big car crashes going on. Guys were out there hitting, man. It was a fun game to watch. We'll be right back here after a quick shout out to one of our sponsors.
here, and you want the latest news and rumors on your Detroit Lions. Head to sportspider.com. That's sports, SPYDER.com, where you can get your Lions news and all your sports in one place. Man, this site is packed with your favorite podcasts, live news, articles from local writers, and insiders, all updating in real time. Not just the Lions, every major sports team, including MMA, UFC, and so much more. Don't want to waste time searching? Sign up for free. Create your ultimate sports news hub. You control what hits your feed at SportsSpider, your number one source for all your sports. Visit sportspider.com today, right after the show.
Okay, so here's a quick stat for you.
Mm-hmm.
If Marcus Davenport continues doing what he did for the rest of the season, if he plays in every game, stays healthy, we might have 2 defensive ends over 100 pressures each.
Wow.
Tell me that's not insane.
That is.
You know, he had 6, right? So 6 times 17 is 102. Aiden had 11, right?
Yep.
That's 187. Obviously, that's not going to happen. That'd be insane, but it's not going to happen. Combined, though, I think when you look at this at the end of the season, you're going to be like, wow, what a difference it makes just bringing in a couple of guys. Interior defensive pressure was a big call for me. We needed to have that, and DBs that could hold. There's nothing you can do about Matthew Stafford getting the ball off as quickly as he did. There was a play, though, that I'm going to try to highlight tonight in a video. There was a play that JMO had a very big opportunity in that we didn't utilize. And I think the reason why is the way that he ran the route. I think he missed an opportunity. So I'm bringing this up because it just popped in my head again. I was looking at one of my phone notes. Tonight, I'm going to do a video on JMO in what he missed and how much better his game could be if some of these things get dialed in. This could have been another tutty for JMO in this game. All he had to do was move to his left 1 yard, and it totally changes the trajectory of this route, and it would cut off the linebackers. And matter of fact, Amon-Ra St. Brown kind of had the same situation. And you know what? We might see this play throughout the season more often than not. But I think that JMO Waymo train is full speed ahead right now. Exciting to watch. Really, really, really exciting to watch.
Yep.
Conspiracy. I don't even really want to talk about this again. I did last night. But I've got to put it to bed here. You guys have probably heard me talk about it twice now. This is completely asinine. I don't even know where this even came from. Eric, do you remember where this came from?
I don't. It was some clickbait thing, and now it's turned into this big fan conspiracy that the Lions painted their end zones to match the blueberries, and we're camouflaging our defensive players against. But wouldn't it be the same for Goff? Now our receivers are camouflaged. Listen, I went back and I watched a Lions game from 2016, part of it, with Matt Stafford. And we had blue jerseys and a blue end zone. No different. They matched exactly, right? Now, I realize this year we have kind of a different color blue kicking. It's more of a neon blue on the jerseys, and same thing with the end zones. It was kind of, I don't know, a lighter blue before, but it matched just as well. And Matt Stafford never had a problem with it for all those years being in Ford Field before. And I haven't heard this from Matt Stafford himself or from the Rams themselves. This is all a fan. Somebody in some weird media came up with this one.
So I've seen it on places like the U.S. Sun or the Mirror, places that I definitely don't go for my information. And I want to credit Rams fans, because I did visit some of the boards, right? The Rams on Demand, the Voice of the Rams Fan. It's a cool little site that they have. And in here, they had a discussion on this forum about the Detroit Lions accused of cheating. And this is what some of them had to say. I'm not going to refer to any of their names, but it says, laugh out loud. Who wrote that? Doesn't sound like the allegations came from the Rams, but some writer trying to make a name for themselves. Yeah. Second response here. That may be home field advantage, but even the Major League Baseball decided to, in some stadiums, fill in the outfield bleachers so that the ball from the pitcher is not blended in with fans, so that the ball has a solid background on the delivery. I can't imagine anyone saying that having a mostly white background behind the pitcher's throwing arm would be home field advantage. So good analogy. Here's an even better one. So that's why the Eagles, the Jets, and the Packers always win on green fields. I mean, come on, people, right? I mean, overall, I guess the sentiment is this. I don't see Rams fans clamoring that they lost the game because of cheating. No. I think that all of this being pumped up, by whatever sites, the Mirror US, I don't even know what the Mirror US is, or, some of these other sites out here, who knows what they are, but they're talking about, Detroit Lions intentionally making the end zones blue and the back wall blue and the jerseys to match. I showed you guys last night in the playoff wildcard game versus the Rams. Same blue end zone, same blue wall, similar blue jerseys, right? I think there's a slight modification to the color of the jerseys. I don't think it's very far off. The biggest thing is you got 10,000 fans right behind them all wearing blue jerseys. Yeah. So the biggest thing that I wanted to say on this is, what about Jared Goff? How's he going to hit his receivers? How's he going to find his receivers going the other direction if they blend in so well? Did anyone ever stop to think about that before they write this crap? Like, if it works against you, if it works against the opponent defensively, it would work against you offensively. So that's all I wanted to say. Rams fans, we didn't hear this from you. Wherever this crap is coming from some of these no-name, sites, and then picked up from other, local sites. It's just crap. It's just, look, just try to beat us. That's it. You want to come to Ford Field and come up with all these cockamamie excuses as to why you lost? Whatever. Like I told you in the video, just show up on Sunday and try to beat us. Let the best team win. There's no excuses here about jersey color. The NFL is not going to make us repaint the end zones a different color. But you know what? I think the Lions probably would, just to prove a point. But maybe they will. Maybe they won't. I don't think that there's a need to. But this kind of stuff bothers me because every year we get these stupid asterisk wins. This is not one of them. This was a very hard-fought game. And we didn't win the game off of an interception. We won the game by pounding the rock in overtime and shoving that ball down their throat. And Demo putting like 60 yards on the ground in a tutty to finish the game. That's how we won this game. We overmatched the Rams at the end when they were tired. We took advantage of them being tired. So is that another asterisk because the Rams defense was tired and we decided to run the ball instead of pass the ball? I mean, come on. This is football. I hate seeing this stuff.
Yeah. Yesterday, Richard Sherman started a new podcast and I tuned in because it's had, Lions camouflage cheating. So I tuned in and I listened, and even they thought it was just the dumbest thing ever. They gave it about 10 seconds, and they used it as clickbait to get people to watch their show. And I even heard it mentioned on Good Morning Football.
Well, what's crazy is so I did 3 videos yesterday. And like I said, I got to get back to doing videos. That was one of my best videos in a long time because people are so keyed in on negativity.
Yeah.
Negativity sells, apparently. I just had to put it to, I was pissed. I was pissed when I heard this. It's just not fair to the Lions. It's not fair to any team in the NFL, really, because they put a lot of hard work in and the hard work paid off. Ben Johnson's scheme paid off in the end of that game. It was a very hard fought game. Like, this was one of the best opening games I have been to. Now, during times of this game, obviously I was a little bit on edge. The true fan, it comes out. But yeah, it was a very hard fought game.
So
go ahead.
Positive if you want.
Yeah, keep it pouring.
Yeah. So do you ever watch that? I think it's called Good Morning Football with Kyle Brandt, where he gives a scepter for the best runs of the week.
Yeah.
He only had one person this week, only one running back.
Demo.
And it was Demo for the way he ran in the fourth or in the overtime win, and how he just ran it right down their throats. He would not be denied. And he went from one end of the field to the other. There was only one carry by Gibbs. The whole rest of it was all David Montgomery. So David Montgomery got the first scepter this year from Kyle Brandt. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. And much deserved, man. Much, much, much deserved. Yeah. Lions news and rumors. What do we got? Anything?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see here.
I think we pretty much covered everything today. I guess, to pair up this whole cheating thing, non-cheating thing, Ford Field is legit home field advantage. I don't know of another stadium in the NFL that has home field advantage like we do right now.
I watched a podcast yesterday where that was the debate. Is Ford Field now the hardest place in the NFL for an opposing team to come play? Now, a couple of the people picked like Arrowhead, and one person picked down in Miami for some reason, because apparently the sideline's real shallow and the sun is directed right at them. So when it's hot out, they're baking in the sun all day.
Who, the opponent?
Yeah, the opponent.
So, yeah, that depends on the time of the game there in Miami. But Miami and Tampa, they have their own set of, and Jacksonville have their own set of, home field advantages with the weather, because it is so hot and so sticky, early in the season, and they're used to it, whereas the opponents are not.
And one of them said that it was the 12th man for Seattle, but that Ford Field was becoming like the new Seattle. And a couple of them agreed that Detroit is by far and away right now, as of right now, not in the past, as of right now, that they have the best home field advantage in the entire NFL. I thought that was pretty cool that other pundits are actually coming around to that.
Yeah. So former news, right? Former player Charles Harris was signing with the Panthers as of yesterday. So the Carolina Panthers are signing the veteran outside linebacker, edge rusher Charles Harris. Obviously, he's going to be put in place pretty quickly. They lost Derek Brown during the Saints game. But 6'3", 250-pound former Detroit Lion Charles Harris, best year of his career, 2021. 7.5 sacks, 36 hurries, 16 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles. The reason why I wanted to bring this up is because you've already seen, let's compare Charles Harris to Davenport already. If his best season, now he was with us in 2021, right? I believe so.
Yeah.
So he had 7.5 sacks. Davenport already has 1, should be 1.5. 36 hurries. Davenport had... Let me pull his stats back up. You'd think I would know this, but Davenport had 6 total pressures, 3 hurries, 2 quarterback hits. So when you compare that to Charles Harris's best season, Davenport's already on pace to beat it. 16 quarterback hits. Davenport had 2. Over the course of 17 games, he's on pace to tie. Well, no, he's on pace to smash it by 16. 2 forced fumbles. Davenport hasn't done that yet, but I'm sure we'll be getting blessed with some of those here pretty soon. Hopefully some strip sacks, or some fumble sacks.
That was something we didn't see. We didn't see a ball get punched out, which I was really hoping to see. was a defensive turnover. I mean, we had the interception, possibilities, but I didn't see anybody getting the ball punched out.
It's coming. If you watch the tape, just watch Kirby Joseph. Every time he goes in for a tackle, he's swinging that right arm, and he's trying to punch that ball out. They're coming. Harris was a first-round pick in 2017 by the Miami Dolphins. He spent one season with the Falcons before settling for 3 seasons with the Detroit Lions. He was a team captain, believe it or not, with the Lions. He has not been a full season starter for any team that he has played for, with the exception of the Lions in 2021. He posted a career high 7.5 sacks that season. Obviously, the Lions walked away from Charles Harris. He just didn't do enough for us, and now we're starting to see just how impactful having another solid defensive end pass rusher in Marcus Davenport. And the difference, I mean, big difference already. Charles really never produced a ton of pressure. He just didn't. Matter of fact, he was like a healthy scratch quite often in his last season with the Lions. Just didn't do a whole lot. And so anyway, big ups, I guess, to Charles Harris, landing on his feet with another team, getting another crack at it with the Panthers. It'll probably be short-lived. I mean, once Brown comes back, he'll probably be put back down. But then again, if Charles Harris, has a good few games, maybe he sticks around for another season. But anyway, that's about it for the news and rumors with former Detroit Lions today. Anything else you want to add for this morning's show?
This is from NBC Sports. After 2 games, the dynamic kickoff looked to be a dud. After one full week of games, there were more kick returns than expected. Rams coach Sean McVay wasn't among those who opted to roll the dice on the risk of a long return. The Rams kicked off 6 times on Sunday night. Each resulted in a touchback and a 1st and 10 for the Lions at their own 30.
So Prashant said he paid $70 for JMO on the waiver wire. Will I regret it? I don't think so. Not right now. I think you'd be all right. I guess it depends on who else you have. But tune in tonight, 7:30, Fantasy Football Tonight show with Jared Eisenlohr, 16-time champion, the big-time leagues, man. He's got a wealth of information, and tonight he's going to have a special segment, Panic or Don't Panic, tonight on what we just witnessed in Week 1. So here's 5 stats from Tim Twentyman that stood out in the Week 1 victory, and then tomorrow we start Tampa Bay. So we're going to have tomorrow morning show, tomorrow night's pregame show, which will get scheduled tonight, and then all day Friday. It's all Tampa Bay and it's all Detroit Lions for the next couple of days, getting ready for the game. I'll be there, so it'll be interesting to see how we're going to be doing post-game and follow-up. At least it's not a night game this time. So 5 stats that stood out to Tim Twentyman. Number 1 is the number 23. What it means, the Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford targeted Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold on Sunday night. I was not surprised that he was going after Terrion Arnold a little bit. I expected more, to be honest with you. I expected way more of Matthew Stafford going after Terrion Arnold. But Stafford completed 17 of the 23 targets for 171 yards and a touchdown. But if you take a closer look at the big picture with both players, Tim Twentyman kind of laid it out. Davis was targeted 13 times, gave up 9 completions for 114 yards and a touchdown. But here's the kicker. One of those completions went for 63 yards to Tyler Johnson. So if you remove that out of the equation, Carlton was actually playing pretty well. He would have only given up about 60 yards on the night. Had that I think he slipped on that play, and that's what turned into the big play for Tyler Johnson. Davis did slip on that play. But Cooper Kupp, he also caught 3 balls for 22 yards and a 9-yard touchdown with Davis in coverage. Now, that's a great stat. The fact that Carlton was able to keep Kupp in check is exactly what we needed to see. Now, on the other side, Terrion was not able to keep Kupp in check as much, but slipping was a bit of an issue at Ford Field. for both teams on Sunday night. So there's your answer. Both teams were having issues with slipping on the field. Arnold was targeted 10 times, gave up 8 catches for 57 yards. He had the 2 pass interference penalties, which were, Tim 20 Minutes also says, 50-50 at best. The 121-yard completion on the comeback route by Cooper Kupp was a great route, and Arnold got turned around a little bit. But other than that, it was a lot of short throws that amounted to 7 receptions for 36 yards for an average of 5.1 yards per catch. Here's my takeaway here. The reason why there was so many short throws is what Stafford did this entire game to try to get away from the pressure and try to stay on his feet. It was 1, 2, 3 and out. I mean, he was getting that ball out so fast. There's nothing that you could do. And that's another reason why, I was talking about this in the offseason. You don't pay a $30 million defensive end when these quarterbacks are going to get hip to what you're doing, and they're going to totally negate the fact that you have a really good defensive end over there because they're just going to get the ball out. So unless you have interior pressure that gets the quarterback off of their rhythm, right? When DJ Reader blows up the center, the quarterback's not going to be able to just to step back and pick you apart. Stafford stayed in shotgun almost the entire night, and then took a very quick 3-step or 5 shuffle drop, and then gets the ball out. So that's why there was a lot of shorter throws and completions on the night. Anything you want to add to that?
Listen, Matt Stafford, he sliced us and diced us up over the middle. I didn't like the zone. I wish we were in more man, because these guys, usually it's the tight end, but it seemed like it was Cooper Kupp doing a little slant over the middle. Boom, I'm open. Boom, I'm open. Boom, I'm open. 14 times. And when it wasn't over the middle, it was something going towards the sideline, and that was when it was 4-minute drill and they needed to stop the clock all the time, trying to save as much clock as they could. We have to stop that. I don't know what we need to do to fix this over the middle thing, but for me, it's been going on for 3 seasons. They need to.
Well, we have to stop this zone coverage.
Yes.
That's the issue. So when you're in zone, your backs are to the quarterback. I said it in the pregame show that they needed to have one person with their chest to Stafford in the middle of the defense, just kind of hanging out. Whether, you got a single high safety, should be there more often, right? You should have more of a single high safety look where you've got guys down that you can then bracket their receivers with. But why not bring him up, right? You play in a shallow zone, if anything. Bring Kirby up so he's in the middle of the defense. If your guys get beat deep, I mean, there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. But at some point, you're going to have to trust your corners to be able to play press man. We didn't jam. Again, if you don't jam, you can't get these guys off their step and get them off their rhythm. And then they're going to be able to do what they want to do. Richard Morris has a funny statement. I don't know if this is allowed in the NFL. I would say that it's probably not.
It's not.
But paint the whole damn field like Boise State. Why not? You know what? If it was legal in the, and again, I don't know if it's not.
Be doing it.
What's that?
I'd be doing it.
You might. I would do it just because.
And then when we were wearing the blacks, I would do the end zones and the whole field black too.
That'd be fun. That'd be real fun. That'd be slick.
Wouldn't that be cool if we had black end zones with the dark blue with the black Lions logo like the new helmets? That would look so slick.
Anthony Tottingham says his biggest concern is the third quarter blues. We just can't get it going. Yeah. Another game, another third quarter that the Lions can't, march out of the locker room and get things moving. That can't continue.
But it was a tie. It was 7-7 for the third quarter.
Yeah, but it's more so that we didn't do anything.
Yeah. I'll take a tie for the third quarter over us getting blown out in the third quarter anytime.
Yeah, that's a good point. But here's what I'm going to go back and look here.
To me, that's progress, because instead of having a 14-0 third quarter, which is typical for us, our defense just lays down. This was our offense did something and our defense did a little bit. So, hey, I'll take it. The fourth quarter worried me more than the third quarter in this last game because we lost that quarter 10-3.
I'm trying to pull up the third quarter stats here. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to have to come back to this one. You would think that I would be able to pull it right up, and maybe I don't know where it's at, but they have it broken down by quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was on this page, but it's not.
Yeah, I'm looking for it too.
So, anyway, 5 stats that stand out. Number 2 is number 4. What it means, quarterback hits for defensive end Marcus Davenport. Tim 20 says that Davenport was good in his Lions debut, opposite of Aiden Hutchinson on the other edge, recording a sack and 4 quarterback hits in the contest. So how does he have 4, but PFF has 2? Why is there such a big discrepancy here? I mean, that's a huge discrepancy.
Yeah.
So just how much should Lions fans be impressed with his performance? I think that we should be extremely impressed. And it's exactly what we've been looking for. Yeah, there's something here going on with the stats on PFF. And again, I think that's part of the reason why you see these big discrepancies in scores or grades, if you will, for the week. Mm-hmm. I just don't see how it's different. You missed 2 quarterback hits. That's huge. That'll definitely slide your algorithm, down. Number 3 is number 163, Lions rushing yards. The Lions offense is predicated on the run, and everything else they do builds off of it, including play action pass. That's not to say that they can't go into a game with a plan to sling it and execute it, because they can. And we've seen that in the past couple of seasons. But they are at their best when they can pound the rock and be a balanced offense. I'm right behind you on this one, Tim. Like, this is huge for week 1. To post 163 yards on the ground, to go into overtime and just to come out with a plan that, you're going to play big boy ball and just go end the game. Man, Demo he played with this vicious intent on Sunday night in overtime that I haven't seen before out of him. Like, he was amped up, ready to go, and he proved it on Sunday. What a different running back he has become since joining the Detroit Lions. He would have never had a season like this in Chicago, ever. The 163 yards on the ground after week 1 ranked 6th in the NFL. Houston had 213, Baltimore 185, New Orleans 180, the Chargers 176. Go figure. What did I say about the Chargers leading up to week 1? That Harbaugh loves to pound the rock, and that's exactly what they did too. New England, of all teams, posted 170 yards on the ground. The Lions ran it 6 times for 60 yards and a touchdown in the 7-play, 70-yard drive to end the game in overtime. Number 4 is 121. What it means? J-Mo Waymo. Jameson Williams receiving yards on just 5. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 receptions. That's it. 5 receptions. Jameson early in this season said, I want to have the most reception yards. I want to have the most TDs. And I could care less about receptions because I know what I can do with the ball in my hands. And he proved it on Sunday night. You give him a sliver, you give him an opening, you give him a crack, and he's going to take it. Jamison Williams in space is a very, very dangerous thing to witness for a defense. You can't catch the guy. And he is just so slippery in space. You give him a hole, man, he can get through it. Tip 20 Minutes says the Lions finished training camp with high expectations for Jamison Williams with the growth they saw from the third-year wide receiver, both on and off the field. It was a huge win for this offense and for Williams that he took those high expectations and brought it to the field week 1 in a big way with 121 receiving yards and 2 explosives on the day, 52-yard TD and a 36-yard play. As it stands after week 1, Williams ranks 4th in the NFL in receiving yards behind Green Bay's Jaden Reed, 138, Miami's Tyreek Hill, 130, and Alec Pierce of the Indianapolis Colts, 125. Comments on those 2 segments?
I love JMO. I've been saying all offseason he's going to be a beast. Someone in the chat said, I wonder who's faster, Tyreek Hill or JMO? Probably.
It depends what you look for. Are you looking for immediate speed or long speed?
I'm looking for speed in a game.
Yeah, immediate speed or long speed. You want short area burst and short area quickness, or you want long speed? Because Gibbs is faster than JMO in short speed, short burst.
Yeah.
But JMO is faster in long speed. He continues to get faster as he runs. Tyreek Hill has got a little bit of both. He's extremely quick in short area burst, short area quickness. He tends to hit his top gear and stay there pretty quickly in his route. JMO could be faster, long speed, but I think Tyreek Hill gets out in front so fast that he's going to be hard to catch. It'd be a great race either way.
I don't know. Hey, Michael Garrity, super chat, $2. Great show as always, Will and Eric.
Appreciate you, Michael. Appreciate you. Thumbs up.
We have over 100 people watching right now. We don't have 100 likes yet. Hop out of the chat for a second, hit that like button, and keep us going for a whole bunch of days in a row.
Yeah, so as far as the likes go, guys, we don't give you ads. We just ask you to like the stream. When we don't hit 100 likes, we got to turn ads on the next day. That's going to be the new thing. If we don't hit 100 by the time we get off here in about 11 minutes, ads got to run tomorrow until we get above 50. And then we turn them off. And then when we get up to 100, they stay off.
And we only got 10 to go.
Help us out. We only got a few more to go. Smash the like button. It really helps our channel grow too. You don't have to donate to the channel. You don't have to join memberships. But of course, if you do, we'd love to have you around. We appreciate all your donations. It all goes towards the Rock Down Cancer Foundation. But your thumb, just your simple thumbs up, does so much for this channel. We really appreciate it. So finish what you're saying. You're on JMO there.
I just think JMO is going to surprise a lot of people this year. You want to know what I'm hearing on social media from all the JMO's bust people? Chirp, 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 chirp. Nothing. Crickets. That's what I'm hearing. We just got another super chat from Richard Morris. Think Boise State, paint the whole field, boy. Yeah, I wish we could. Oh, God, I wish they could.
Yeah, Trey says the red heart in the chat does not count towards likes. You just got to hit the like button. It's a good point. But I don't know what those things really do. I don't know if they count towards interactions or engagement. I have no idea, but I know they don't count towards likes.
Yep.
Number 5 is number 13. What does it mean? Tackles recorded by none other than Alex Anzalone.
Oh, wow.
Veteran linebacker set the tone for the Lions defense when he recorded 2 tackles for loss, helping to force a 3-and-out on the Rams' first possession. He had 3 tackles for loss total in the contest. He's coming off back-to-back seasons with 129 and 125 tackles. And after week 1, he's on pace. Forget this. 221 this season. Insanity. If he keeps that pace up. Alex took a shot early in this game. I thought that he was going to be struggling at some point through the game. He took a shot to the chest. And you could tell he kind of winced and he kind of slumped for a second. And I was like, oh no, not Alex. We can't lose him. We had a lot of near misses, I guess you would call it, in this game. J-Mo going down, Carlton going down, Alex briefly, Penei Sewell with the ankle. We had some near misses in this game with injuries. Injury report comes out today, this afternoon at least. It should be an interesting read. I think that we're going to have a few bodies on this list with ticky-tacky injuries, nothing major. I'm hoping.
We hope. Knock on wood.
Yep.
Hey, one more thing on J-Mo real quick. So J-Mo got the game ball from Sunday Night Football, and he had never gotten a game ball in high school, college, or the pros. I think that his first goal for this season should be to have Dan Campbell hand him a game ball at the end of a game. I want to see it happen. I want to see J-Mo get the game ball against Tampa Bay.
So here's a question. You had Alex Anzalone got a game ball, right?
Yep. And so did Demo.
And so did Demo.
Sometimes they give out one, sometimes they give out two.
Yeah, I'm surprised with that. So, I mean, I would think that you would have a game ball offense and defense every game. And I know Dan Campbell is reserved in you know how he hands these things out, which I totally respect and I understand it. Come on, we're only 5 likes away. Keep it rolling. Didn't somebody did I hear this wrong that somebody gave J-Mo his ball because he felt that he deserved it more? Did I hear that?
Really? I didn't hear that. Like maybe Demo did or something. Because he's gotten them before, David Montgomery. So, you know, I treat J-Mo like a rookie. You know, coming in, his first 2 seasons are a wash. This is like his rookie season. So I think it would be a huge confidence booster for him to get one. Like actually handed to him by the coach after the game. Hey, dude, you deserve this. Like he did for Jared Goff. Jared Goff, you're good enough for effing Detroit if he does the same thing for J-Mo. J-Mo, you're good enough for Detroit. You know, finally let him know that, yes, now you're good enough for this team. Now you're good enough to be the guy.
Yeah, here's what I'm going to tamper down. So I'm going to try not to finish the show on a negative, but we got to remember, too, that this is just week 1.
Yep.
All right, so the great things that we've seen out of some players, we need consistency now, right? I think that Jameson Williams, the biggest detriment to his game was consistency over the last couple of seasons. And yeah, he fought back from the Achilles injury. He's fought back from the gambling issue, not being able to spend enough time, in training camp with Jared Goff. And now he's in season 3 and everything's on the line for him, right? He's no guaranteed money left in his contract after that whole thing. No, he should not be getting a new contract after this season. I don't even think that that's a talking point, to be honest with you.
Nope.
But consistency is where his game has to go. We need to see the same J-Mo week in and week out. It doesn't mean he needs 100 yards every game. It doesn't mean that he needs a touchdown every game. What we need to see is when he's targeted that he catches the ball. What we need to see is that when he's running a route, that he's running a clean route, that he has good communication with Jared Goff and that, he's in the right spot at the right time. All the little things, right? The little things are what make the big things possible. And I think that if we start to see these little things stack up for J-Mo and his confidence stays, in that, he is confident before every game and during every game. This first game is a huge confidence boost for him. Huge. Matter of fact, him going into week 2, this guy's riding such a high right now. I hope that Dan kind of brings him back to reality just a little bit. Like, you still got to do the little things right. You still got to show up and do, everything this week in practice. You have to take it now to new heights. Just stay consistent. Do the same work. If you're catching balls after practice, you still need to catch more. I want to see the little things for J-Mo. And I think that he'll have an epic season if he can just continue staying consistent week in and week out. Have a bad game, it's all right. Still smile, still hit the podium, answer the questions, get back to work. You have a great game, still smile, hit the podium, get back to practice, get to work. No matter what happens, he's got to have a short-term memory, just like a good DB does. And if he can stay consistent, sky's the limit for J-Mo in 2024. It could be well beyond the 808 and 80 that I projected for J-Mo this year. Could be well beyond. Right now he's on pace for like 1,780 yards or whatever it is on the season. But it's week 1. So none of these numbers matter right now. Week 4 and 5, well, they're off in week 5, but week 4 and 6, we reevaluate. Where are we at? Are we consistent? Are we doing the little things right? Then we'll see. Where he goes. Looks like we just hit 100 likes. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Keeping it rolling. Got 2 minutes to go. Anything else you want to add for the day?
I do have to be off right at 10 o'clock today because my wife's not feeling so hot and it's my turn to run the shop today. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun. And I want to end with this today.
Yep.
You heard it here first. J-Mo.
Well, you know what they say. If you're not first, you're last. So J-Mo's got to keep rising.
Like the guys I watch the games with, usually Bob and Rafe, they're like, Eric, you're so stupid. Because I kept saying, hey, J-Mo's going to go off. J-Mo's going to go off. And then he started doing good at the end in the playoffs and stuff. And I'm like, you watch next year. He's going to be amazing. He's going to be amazing. Well, now I can't wait to have them eat their words when J-Mo puts some games together. He's going to string some together. That's next. J-Mo, J-Mo, J-Mo.
Well, I hope you're right. The ultimate fan perspective is always positive.
Yep.
The reality of it all is consistency. He's got to stay consistent. We need to see Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta get back to their old self in week 2. Tomorrow we start talking about the Tampa Bay Bucks. Tonight we talk about fantasy football tonight at 7:30 p.m. right here on the Rocked On Detroit Lions YouTube channel. We'll see you guys back here tonight. And, of course, back tomorrow morning, the Rise and Grind morning show at 8 a.m. We get into the Tampa Bay Bucks. Can the Lions do it 2 games in a row? This is not an easy team to beat. Just like the Rams, this is a playoff team from 2023 coming back to Ford Field in what is the loudest field in the nation. We'll see you guys later. You guys have a great one. Go One Pride, go Detroit Lions. We'll see you tonight. Bye-bye.
Adam Schefter at ESPN says there's 275,000 people.
Well, that was some party in downtown Detroit. 775,000 people shattering the NFL draft attendance record.
This is the future.
All grit.
Evolution. This is the future.
All grit.